a scion of many worlds. She follows the titanic Urthani as he sheathes his blades and walks towards the advancing army. She has to make a choice. She was never trained for this, never did his before, and everyone pack up. Everything worth taking you take. Head for Aridus Valley, he bellows out with a loud, carrying tone. Lena, Jane, Erica, Millie, Aqua, Ariel, help them get organized and moving. Lady Dusk, Magrica, you're with me. Why am I with you? What are you doing? She demands, having thankfully been given some kind of direction. You are bearing witness. Magrica is going to keep you safe. I am dealing with your enemies. What? Why? Well, to be honest, wasting Magrica's talents on the rabble coming for us is just criminal, so she's on protection duty instead. What? Protection is always an honorable and worthwhile duty, unless you don't want to be protected, Magrica notes. Not to mention it's easy, especially when you're getting a show out of it. A show? That's the Miru army under slaughter banners. They're here to exterminate us like vermin, Lady Dusk exclaims as she just numbly follows the twisted Earthany warlord with what she now recognizes as a mountain clan metak serving as protection. Thankfully, her girls are striking camp and retreating. Maybe some will even get out alive. I'm not worried, Magrica notes as she keeps up despite having the shortest stride of them all. What am I missing? What have I not seen? Lady Dusk asks. If this mad Urthani is going to try to defend or buy time for her people. He fights with a ferocity that would make any mountain clan proud to call him kin. He also trains without end. If he is not training others, he is training himself, drinking forever upon the power that surrounds us to not only sustain himself, but grow stronger and stronger, Magrica says before letting out a laugh. Besides, if he fails, I get to swoop in and extract a favor. Either way, I win. But Jasper is facing hundreds, she says as they finally breach the edge of the camp and get a clear view of the massive force coming down the road. Thousands. Jasper's pace speeds up and he marches out ahead of everyone, drawing his massive swords before planting them to either side and crossing his arms. He's no longer approaching the army, it is approaching him. We need to run, Lady Dusk says as the army gets close enough for her to see the heraldry, the image of a woman impaled through the chest and into the shadow by a spear. The Night Slayers. We need to run now. What? Why? They're the Night Slayers. Their whole job is to cleanse anything in Miru's borders that isn't of Miru. They spend their lives learning to hunt. If we don't get to Aridus Valley sometime yesterday, then they'll slaughter us like beasts. But you're from Miru. We were cast aside. We're not from anywhere anymore. Dusk, no longer a lady in any stretch of the imagination, says with mounting horror. Why didn't you tell me it was the Night Slayers? I would have already started running. My girls would be running faster. All the fancy crests and symbols all blur together. The only reason I even mentioned the banner is because all sorts of armies use them to declare intent, Magrica says casually, grabbing Dusk by the leg with a wing to stop her from running. Just watch. But they're going to... Watch. Dusk grows more terrified as the army approaches, only to stop right in front of Jasper. It's clear that they recognize the challenge. Urthani, you are trespassing in the Miru kingdom, in light of your people's peaceful ways. The head of the column begins to announce in an airy tone, clearly dismissing him as a threat despite the fact that he's easily head and shoulders taller than their largest warrior and has gigantic swords embedded in the ground to either side. I am Jasper Blue, Sergeant of the Undaunted and Martial Master of the Star Seekers. You approach Aridus Valley. Turn back or be destroyed. He cuts off the noblewoman's speech. There's a moment as the army tries to process the idea of an Urthani cutting someone off, let alone threatening an entire army. seemingly alone. "Oh, will we? Shall that Matak be doing the fighting? Or perhaps the disgrace back there who's trying to run away? I don't see an army here, so how do you propose to stop us?" "With violence." Jasper answers simply. No inflection, no hint of boasting. He's just stating a simple fact. "Are you insane?" she asks, and he lets out a low chuckle. "What's so funny?" "I'm far from insane. I'm simply aware of what you are not." "And what am I unaware of?" "Many things," Jasper remarks bluntly, and the woman at the front of the formation visibly loses her patience. "And now, I'm done entertaining this madness," she says, unsheathing her axe and prompting Jasper to pull his blades out of the ground and give them a casual twirl. The head of the Night Slayers charges in a blur, her axe low with intent to split him from groin to gut, and with a spray of bright red blood lands in pieces behind Jasper. Her legs, torso, and arms sliced off in a quick movement of the two massive swords. Blood dripping from the massive blades, Jasper holds up the right sword and licks it with his proboscis. Did she suffer from gout? That was the final straw as the army rushes at him, and he countercharges directly into the middle of them. He moves his swords in a blistering dance of death, too fast for it to be natural as he runs power along the edges of the flambeaux to tear as much as he slices. The armor they wear proves completely ineffective, and his every swing takes multiple lives. Blood flies as he uses the sheer density of the army against itself. Only 4 or 5 people can get close to him at once, and that's not only not enough, but they have to watch their swings or risk hitting each other. He simply slaughters every which way possible, his antenna giving him perfect perception of the area around him, allowing him to dodge attacks that he cannot see and punish anyone who gets too close for even a heartbeat. In seconds alone, he's killed dozens, and then he starts to pull at the power to do something more exotic. Mid-swing, he gathers even more energy around the tip of his right sword and agitates it until it ignites. By the time the sword slams into the ground next to the soldier that wisely dodged to the side, there's a growing fireball that then destabilizes and detonates out in all directions, killing those closest and staggering the rest, even as Jasper's smile grows. How is she doing this? How can one stand against so many? Dusk asks in shock as she simply stares. It was nothing short of a slaughter, but not in the direction anyone sane would have considered. Jasper is moving too fast, hitting too hard and too aware of his surroundings to so much as slow down as he cuts the army sent to slaughter her and hers down to size. He's like us from the mountain clans. He's not satisfied simply being able to do something. He has to be able to do it easily, to make even the greatest trials simple. Me? I make a mockery of the greatest beasts. Him? He makes a complete joke out of enemy warriors. Him. What? He's from very far away, a type of being called a man. Think like the male half of animal races, but an Urthani instead of a beast. Magrika explains and shrugs. He and his is like her and hers, just the right way to speak of him. Am I being lectured on proper grammar by a mountain savage? Yes. While an Urthani slaughters an entire army that previously struck deep fear into your heart, Magrika says as Jasper slams his swords into the ground, rips the energy out of the air into a gigantic ball of fire that he then turns and elbows so hard it distorts and takes a massive chunk out of the army. You'll also notice that he's getting more creative, more terrifying, and more effective as he moves, slaughtering more and more as the army suddenly breaks away at all sides, and Dusk gasps to see what was at the opposite end of it. The archers open fire as the new weapon, something she had only heard whispers of before, is aimed right at Jasper, even as he swings his oversized sword so hard that the blast of wind they bring about deflects the arrows. There's a deafening bang and an almighty clang. The two swords hit the ground and embed themselves deep enough to stand upright. Jasper uncurls and holds the caught cannonball in one hand. "I didn't think you had gunpowder. This could be interesting," he notes, tossing the massive iron ball up and down in his hand as he examines it. Not many markings. You didn't rifle the barrel, did you?" Whatever the answer to that question is, he doesn't wait for it as he takes a step forward and, in a blurring motion, hurls the cannonball right back. It slams into the upper lip of the weapon and sends it careening backwards, crushing several unfortunates and then breaking open the cases behind it. Right then, let's get back to it. Everyone against me again. By the time he finishes plucking his blades out of the ground, the entire army has run. The slaughter he committed had been absurd by itself, but deflect an arrow volley and then catching and returning a cannonball was simply too much. "Very good. Run. Tell your masters that the Order of the Star Seekers and their holdings are protected," Jasper calls after them before flicking the blood off his swords and sheathing them. Miraculously, there's no blood sticking to him either. His gauntlets and armor are pristine and his fur shimmers as if freshly washed. Dusk simply stares at him in shock and awe as he calmly walks up to them both, and Magrica chuckles. "I'm not sure if I can give you full credit, big man. You let most of them run. I'm hoping they come back with an actual challenge next time instead of one or two surprise toys. The archer volley and cannon blast at the end were the only good ideas they had, and they still screwed them up by giving me way too much time to react." Jasper replies calmly. "How?" Dusk asks, openly gaping. "How?" "It's simple. Training. Lots and lots of training. As well as learning to draw on and grow stronger with every breath thanks to the axiom around us. There is so much you can do, but so few consider it because it's simply there. Part of your body is made up of darkness manifest. Doesn't that intrigue you? Does it not make you think and consider? A shadow cannot be grasped, cannot be stopped, cannot be stilled. You could make yourself untouchable and unstoppable if you would only try. What do you want from me? Loyalty for loyalty. I will hold faith in you if you will hold faith in me. I will teach you the secrets of my strength so that you may nurture it within yourself. All of Lacron is upon the brink of war, travesty, and tragedy are common. This needs to end. This pattern of barely contained madness and rage must be broken. I have allies coming to help bring Lacron out of its misery. However, the more work we get done now, the less there is later. But what do you want? Dusk asks him, and he considers. I want full pantries and fresh, clean water for all. I want families to come together without mourning the loss of loved ones slaughtered by the stupidity and greed of their supposed betters. I want to live 1,000 years and look back to find that I have forged paradises. I want to reunite with my brother in the stars. I want to speak with my family, still trapped in the dark places beyond the stars themselves. Jasper explains, gesturing up at the sky in a grandiose manner before looking down at Dusk again. From you, however, I want you to join me as I grow stronger. I want your help in bringing some stability to this region at the least, if not many more, perhaps all of Miru. I want your honesty. I want your advice. I want to share a meal with you, shall we? Are you planning conquest? Dusk asks slowly with wide eyes. I haven't decided yet. The Grand Midwives will oppose you. No woman wants to fight without knowing that she has a daughter back home to carry the family. Many of us simply do not. Dusk begins to explain, but trails off as Magrica snickers. What? Is he a midwife too? I'm a man. The midwives emulate poorly what I do. I can ensure the next generation. However, if you don't believe me, then understand that my time here is likely limited. I only ask you to be defensive. Everything else you have the right to refuse. Help me protect Aridus Valley and I will consider all debts paid. Limited? Limited how? I have said many times now that I am a sergeant of the Undaunted. The Undaunted are an army of those like myself. I have been taken from them and left without means to return. I have, however, let them know where I am, and even now they come to rescue me. There is a chance, a very good chance, that they will require me to leave this place. If it is required of me, I will leave." "And if they require you to stay, what then?" Dusk asks, to try and trip him up and get some idea as to what she's getting into. "If they want me to stay, then it will be to help bring this world back into the galactic fold. There would be an enormous amount of work to do, and having local warriors willing to help us would be even more important. And as much as I can offer, and I can offer much, the Undaunted as a whole can offer much, much more." "How much more?" "Eternal youth to begin with." "What?" "A guarantee of children if you want them." "Guaranteed." "Arms and armor more powerful than anything you've imagined." "I can imagine a great deal." "Can you imagine a weapon that can reduce stone to smoke?" "I cannot." "Plasma weaponry, very dangerous, very powerful, very easy to get a hold of." Jasper remarks. "Why?" Dusk asks, and Jasper gives her a curious look. "Why would your people help us? Bring such gifts from beyond the stars? If it's real. As far as my people are concerned, this whole planet is in need of rescue and is overdue for it by over 1,000 years. Help is on the way," Jasper says, and Dusk just stares at him. "I don't understand." "You will. But first, let's get your people safely to Aridus and well fed. Also see to those who are sick or injured. After that, I'll be showing you all how to properly maintain your tools and equipment before taking several of you hunting and foraging to show how that is done, a different group each time. After that will be some weapon drills to give you girls some steel in your spine.